Now in the studio with me is Anne-Marie Chidzero, Principal Partner at Alitheia Identity Fund Managers. They've been investing in women-led businesses across Africa for over 60 years and are dedicated towards supporting small startups. Thank you for coming through. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Are you his daughter?
If you're talking about the late Minister of Finance of Zimbabwe, yes, Bernard Chidzero, I am his daughter, yes.
So in the early years of Zimbabwe's independence,
yes,
even though I think many people didn't understand budgets, but when we saw Dr. Bernard Chidzero carrying that briefcase, going in and presenting it, we knew something important was coming through. And he was such a trusted force, bless his soul.
Thank you, yes he was.
Let's talk about what you're talking about. You want to support women businesses in Africa, and you have launched this fund. You're looking for $100 million. Let's talk about the reception. How has it been from the funders?
It's not a very easy market, to be honest. We are investing to invest in a market where we see tremendous opportunity and where we see a huge gap in funding. Our focus is on investing in women-led businesses, growth SMEs, and we apply what we call a gender lens. The market in Africa is a market of opportunity. The private sector, about 90% of the businesses in the private sector are SMEs, and about 40% of those SMEs are led by women across the continent. But yet, only about 2% of those businesses get access to funding. So we're in the market to fill that gap. We've identified a large number of potential businesses to invest in.
Right. How long have you been looking?
We started this fund 2 years ago. We are anchored by the African Development Bank that understood the market opportunity that we saw, and we are also have a commitment from the South African Industrial Development Corporation, and we're looking to close our fund, or at least the first close of the fund, in the third quarter of this year. So
you're surprising me, because you're saying to me that you are struggling to raise the money, and I have not heard anyone talking about women-centered issues struggling, because number one, the recognition has been there from institutions such as the African Development Bank that women can make a huge difference. I remember a conversation I had with Donald Kaberuka, former president of the AFDB, where he was talking about the difference that including women inside African economies would make. Why do you think people are responding slowly?
It's a very difficult question to answer. I think there hasn't been a precedent of a fund that has specifically focused on women-led businesses. And so I think that there is a belief that potentially there isn't the pipeline in this market. And so that there isn't sort of a precedent to demonstrate that you can invest in women, you can grow businesses, and you can actually exit and return capital to investors, and capital with a return, with a good return.
Yeah. How much have you raised so far?
So far, we've raised $35 million.
Right. And who are you targeting?
Who are we targeting? We have been speaking with the development finance institutions across Africa. As I've said, ADB is our anchor investor, but other investors as well.
And this is inside Africa. You're also looking outside Africa?
Yes, we're looking at investors in Europe, in the US, and we're delighted to hear that the G7 has just announced $7 billion towards gender-focused investment fund managers. So we're hoping to tap into that capital.
In terms of focus across the African continent, where are there any specific regions you're looking at? And then also let's talk a little bit about industry quickly. We've got a minute and a half.
Okay, we're looking at SADC as well as Nigeria and Ghana, and we're looking at agro-processing, where we're finding a lot of women-led businesses, as well as in goods and services, fashion, beauty, financial services. Yeah.
Pitch to people who should be investing into this fund, please.
This is the biggest thing that's going to hit this continent, and so come and join us, and we'll ensure that you'll make a return on your investment.
Absolutely. This train is about to leave the station, so jump on board.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Anne-Marie Chidzero is the Principal Partner at Alitheia Identity Fund Managers.